Finally back again with another video. This time I'm removing the control arms on our Acura TL. It's been a while since I uploaded it and I'm kind of sorry for that, but I haven't had really any new content. But anyways, I'm removing the control arms on my Acura TL here, and I'm swapping them out with some new ones. All I'm doing here is just jacking up the car and putting some jack stands under it so I can leave it in the air and have room to work with. Whatever I did to one side, I did to the other. And here you can see that I'm removing the 5 lug nuts off of this side. And then, like I said, whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. I kind of sped up this whole process so you guys can see what I'm doing and like it won't take too much time. But yeah, just stay tuned and check out what I do on the rest of the car. Hope you guys like it. Looks pretty straightforward. We're gonna move the 17 millimeter in the back. The 17 right here that goes from the strut all the way to the control arm. This one right here, the stabilizer link, it's about 13, maybe 12. The one that holds the ball joint to the control arm. And then last but not least, this one right here, 19 millimeter. Goes from the subframe in between the control arm and the upper part. That's about it. Looks pretty straightforward. Hopefully no hiccups, but we'll see how it goes. So as you can see, I started off by removing the 19 millimeter that goes in between the subframe to the control arm to the upper part of the subframe. I use my 1/2 inch gun. It has a lot of torque, so it makes these like removing these freaking bolts like butter. So I started off by using that and using my wrench, because once you loosen the bottom side or the upper side or whatever, one of them starts spinning at the top, so you need to hold it in place so it won't spin on you. So I removed the nut on the top, then I removed the bolt through the bottom until it finally came out. After that, I just went ahead and switched and started with the one that's on the side of the control arm, which is a 7 millimeter, which you're about to see in a little. But this is it right here. I used my 1/2 inch wrench, my breaker bar, to break it first, because my 3/8 ratchet didn't have enough power to remove it on its own. So I went ahead and broke it. And by break, I mean loosening it. I loosened that, then I used my 3/8 ratchet with my swivel socket. And since it was spinning, since it started to spin, I went ahead and threw my 17 millimeter wrench in the back of it. And it removed it. It removed it from the back. You can see that it fell there, and then I have it ready to come out. I just went ahead and kept loosening here, and it finally came out. The removing part is actually pretty straightforward. It was pretty easy, but where the problems where I did have hiccups, and I was hoping that I didn't have hiccups at all, was when we're putting it back in. But that's how it is with cars, man. With the car in, like, just working on your car, you always expect everything to go smooth and like nothing to happen, and then out of nowhere you get blindsided and something always ends up happening. So don't always expect it to be like a straight through kind of thing. You know, something is always going to happen. Just be aware, be mindful, and don't get frustrated, because you'll get it eventually. But over here, I use my 14 millimeter gear wrench with my 1/4 inch ratchet, and with an Allen, and all I'm doing here is putting opposite force. One of them is tightening and one of them is loosening, because the nut behind this was spinning and it wasn't holding in place. So you have to make sure it holds so you're able to remove it. So that's what I did here, man. I love using gear wrenches because they're really handy. You don't have to keep resetting every time. The only time you have to reset is when you have to reset to loosen, but it's better than removing and having to put it back in, remove it and put it back in, remove and put it back in. So I believe gear wrenches are a pretty good tool to have in your arsenal. But like I said, I removed the stabilizer link, and it still wasn't coming off, so I kept just hitting it till it finally loosened. Then after I removed this one, I went to the one in the middle of the control arm, which was holding the strut to the control arm. And this one was a 17 as well. But like I said, you hit one side, you loosen one side, break one side, and then the other side starts spinning. So you have to put opposite force to make sure it stays there so you can remove it. But I did that, and once I did that, I just removed the bolt, and it came out pretty smooth. But yeah, like I said, everything was smooth sailing when I removed it. Just the putting back in part was a hassle. But I removed this one. Then after that, I removed the cotter pin that was on the one that holds the ball joint, and I removed it, which was a 17 as well. All of them were pretty much 17, 14, and 19. It only had, I want to say, 5 bolts. This one that I'm removing here, the one for the stabilizer link, the one in the middle of the control arm, the one on the side of the control arm, and the one that goes in between the subframe. So it had 3 17 millimeters, 1 14 millimeter, and 1 19 millimeter. But after that, I put my nut back on there, and I make sure I struck the top part of the nut so I don't strip the head of the nut. And I got that off, and I loosened it, wiggled it around a bit, and it came out. Bam. That's pretty much it for that video, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys around for more videos. But it's like I said earlier, you know, I didn't expect any hiccups, but really, in reality, whenever you're working on cars, always expect hiccups, always expect some little minor things to go wrong. But yeah, just keep pushing through it, and you'll get over it, and it'll feel like an accomplishment, man. But yeah, stay tuned, and I'll see you guys around for more. Thanks.